Hi there everybody, and welcome back to Altenstein, episode 2 of the Let's Make Altenstein Great Again playthrough. And after putting you through 25 minutes in the initial video without doing any farming, let the farming commence. This guy's actually already been out and fertilised one field, field 2, which is planted with barley, just to get the yield up a little bit. Unfortunately, Windows decided to start downloading or doing something with an update during that recording, and it really didn't come out too nicely, so you have missed a little bit. We've also cleaned up the cow trough from their mess, and we have done a little bit of mowing. We'll get over there in a moment. A little tangled up on that tree. Get lined up here. Now this WhiteBull, it's part of the Farming Classics pack by Dogface, and to be honest, double credit to him, because I didn't even realise initially that this hadn't been released by Giants as it has been for the previous versions of the game, because to me it was such a fundamental part of the game for this to be released 3 or 4 months before the next game came out, and it's what I waited for. I waited for this in 17 since I got 17. And what I'm doing here is an Altenstein thing. The field boundaries are a little bit cranky with the workers in very specific places, which I'll point out as we go along. Basically, I just find that if we just ring this field ourselves, as we have done there, and then give it to a worker, basically they have a lot of trouble. They will miss quite a piece up here, and they will get a little bit cranky along the edge of the cow pasture and maybe do half a row and turn round. So this field, the quirk of it is just ring it. Same with the harvester, if you want it then just to leave it to a worker. The fields are tiny, you could easily do all this manually, but we have other stuff to do. I'm going to apologise in advance for the sound this makes, in case it is a little loud, but we're going to have to live with that, I'm afraid. Right, this guy's job is literally just to plough. We've got this nice deep 3 metre lengthening plough that fits the size of the vehicle pretty much perfectly. Now, I play a lot of World of Tanks, and I enjoy World of Tanks, and this sounds better than many of the tanks in World of Tanks, actually. You might not like it, I do apologise. I may have to start shouting, I don't know, we'll find out. If necessary, I won't subject you to this too much, but what we can do... Oh, that's odd. The in-vehicle views offset. There I am, not driving the vehicle. Right, we're going to cut across this piece of grass here. Now we could leave this as grass, we could fertilise it, just treat it as like back grass, or we can plough it out. We will plough it out into some kind of field, but these ones up here, there's this one and there's one on the opposite side of the map that have only missed a planting season or 2. We're going to quickly return them back to full health. I could have fertilised these fields before I do this, but I've got plenty of time for that. Talking of which, there you go, right on cue. He's completed his task, there you go. So excuse me for driving on the crops. I will start avoiding it a bit more carefully. One thing with the classic pack, and it's not in any way a complaint, there are no mods on the vehicles as in the workshop, so you can't put narrow tyres on, so they won't work with you driving them, certainly, if you have crop destruction on, so that's something to bear in mind. But that's really not an issue for me at all. I wouldn't dare have crop destruction on, I am too forgetful. Okay, and the sheep pasture is just up there, and as I said, there's been some mowing going on by the Massey Ferguson 885 mower, and if you haven't seen this piece of machinery before, he is quite a characterful little beast. He's got a beacon, he's got lights, literally just on off, but that's all you need. And the workers mowed up to here. This still counts as field, so we can rent this out. I'm just going to check whether he's going to get stuck here or be okay turning around though, so let's watch. It's quite fun sometimes to watch the AI figuring stuff out. And then we need to get some grass into the sheep. We shall get some of this tedded. I'm interested also, I want to keep track of what the actual yield is here. Where is he going? Oh, one of those situations, right? What we're going to do. Put him there. That looks about right. Off you go. He'll carry on going now. We'll leave him to it. Right. Deutz already needs a fill up. Now you will find that you spend quite a bit of time filling up this slurry spreader. It's the Marshall Mods slurry spreader by Giants. It's a good size. You can change the colours and customise it a bit, which is kind of cool. If you actually run it in your game so it's picking up, you set the workers to directly pick stuff up from the pigs or the cows or the biogas plant slurry store, then in effect, physics wise, it runs empty. So you can actually use a much smaller tractor. This Deutz is very good at this job. It's his main job, but all of the tractors on this farm are interchangeable. I am slightly worried, well not worried, but we'll see how we get on. The Deutz is 75 horsepower. The Massey Ferguson, we're about to go for a little bit of a spin in. He is 95 horsepower. That's not a lot of power for getting around the farm. We may see, we're using small equipment, so we may be fine, but certainly we're going to be getting some more vehicles, and I think we're going to be able to afford that reasonably quickly. Although I must be honest with you, I've done no testing or projections on this as to how much money we're actually going to make. I'm playing on hard. How long this is going to take, I really can't tell you, which is part of the fun of it, isn't it? So no, it's one of those playthroughs. I've not set anything up in this. I've not tested anything. We're going through this together, and we'll see how well we get at rescuing this beautiful valley from the bulldozers and the rich people. Right, we've got a little job to do now. About 14 hours ago, I've just checked the clock, I was finishing off the episode 1 video, in which I quite clearly stated that there was no suitably small or kind of oldie worldy looking planter for me to use for corn and sugar beet, etc. And I was kind of lumbered with the Amazone, which just looks too modern. It's big, it's chunky, it is quite a hefty piece of kit as well. It doesn't need too much horsepower to drag it across a field, but tractors can have a lot of trouble without front weight, especially if they're lightweight themselves, getting this thing around. And anyway, this morning I get up, I have my coffee, I power up the Xbox, I check the mods, and what is there? Would you believe it? So we're talking like probably within 7 hours of me making that video, moaning about this. A solution was right there for me, and who did it come from? So double thank you, triple thank you, Dogface, who has made just what we need. Now we have put some seed in that, and that's a little bit of a waste, but what the hey. We're going to just put this here, we're going to sell it as is. You can have the seed free on us, thank you very much. But that's actually $11,000 back for a moment now in the shop, in the sower section. Now new right at the end is this magnificent creature, which I haven't even seen yet. It's the DR100DG planter. It costs $2,750, so that's fantastic. We're buying that. It only has a 2 meter width. It only needs 20 horsepower, so that's great. So other extreme from the one we've just chopped in. Any of the tractors on the farm can happily use this. I believe we're going to find out that this actually fertilizes again as it seeds, but we'll have a look when I've picked it up. If I'd realised it was quite so tiny. Oh, look at it. Bless him. That is fantastic. Oh my word. Yes. Could push this along by hand. Certainly feel a bit OP in the Massey Ferguson. Oh no, look, it only has a seed. I misread something somewhere. That's fantastic. That means I don't have to plant all the corn manually to keep up with our organic promise to our clients. So that's fantastic. We can plant soy, we can plant corn, we can plant sugar beet, we can plant sunflowers. That's really good. And we know just where we can find a tractor to pull this around. For now, I'm just going to leave it here in this shed. This shed is kind of where the focus of the harvest equipment and the field equipment, and this area up here, the main farmyard, is a little bit cramped, so it's got the mowing stuff in there. The tractors mostly live in there overnight, but this is like the hub for the harvest. Right, we're just going to park up here. I'm going to turn my engine off, and we're just going to have a little look at the market, think about where we are, the situation of not being able to use Wright's agriculture. Is it a handicap? There's only one way to find out, and that's to sit down and read, and we'll do so with this cheeky pig right here. And this is my first proper look at the prices actually, and the first thing I've noticed is that I'm pleased to say that not being able to do business with Wright's agribusiness is not a problem at all. The only thing they seem to have the best price for there is wheat, and it's not significantly better at all, and if it was, we could just avoid that by not growing any wheat, because the barley price is much better elsewhere. That may fluctuate, we'll see. Moving along to some of the other commodities, as I said, Mary's Farm is the manure sell point apart from the biogas plant, even though it's up next to Wright's agribusiness, so that's fine. If we want to sell manure, we can. The price of wool is looking pretty good at the moment, but we haven't actually got any. We've got the biogas plant to sell some stuff at. We can sell stuff at the barn if we need to, bale wise, so that's an option because lots of baling can be done. And yeah, I think it's going to work out fine so far from looking at that. The prices, how they relate, I don't even know what the yields are going to be yet, so and what we're going to make a day, but no, reasonably confident. The only thing I'm not sure about is that we've got a field of sugar beet planted. It's a tiny field. I'm tempted just to turn it over because the price of leasing equipment to harvest that is probably not cost effective, and we have got the potatoes to do. Now, we're going to spend a lot on wages. I'm resigned to that, and I'm happy with that. It's fine. But look at the vehicle overhead costs. The maintenance costs on the equipment that we're using are tiny compared to bigger, more modern equipment. So that is what offsets the fact we're going to be using a lot more workers potentially to get the same amount of work done. And as the farm expands, we are going to have to either have a day that might take hours of real time to play and harvest around the whole map, or we're going to have to kind of duplicate teams of small equipment, which is the option we have rather than buying a piece of equipment that can do twice the work. But there are also some bigger equipment pieces that Grandpa will be more than happy with. They are quite, basic and right up his alley. Finances, nothing to look at. Animals, we need to get some grass into those sheep. They're running at 10% productivity at the moment, which is rubbish, and we do need to top up the cows with some of their food. We certainly don't want anything to make their productivity tip. What I'm going to try to do is get power food in there, mixed rations, so we get the silage and the power food in first as early as possible tomorrow. So we're also going to get some silage fermenting very quickly, and we're going to start on that process right now in the Busha forage wagon, we shall call it. A lovely piece of equipment. It's got a very nice sound to it. Again, it's absolutely basic. There's nothing to it whatsoever. It is basically a miniature loading wagon with a small cab and a small engine. But it can get itself around the map. Its capacity is 10,000, which isn't huge. We like it. Grandpa loves this machine. It certainly has that look about it, doesn't it? And what we're going to do is we're going to harvest, or should I say pick up, the grass mown from this rectangular area up here. So pick up down, turn on. I've put the what is it called, the help icon menu up in the top left. It will help you keep track of who's a hired helper and who's not, I guess. And it will help me occasionally, I'll be the first to admit that. I can quite often forget where I am, what the buttons are for a particular piece of equipment if I don't use it very often, but there you go. So, one run. So I'm going to get on with this. We're going to see how much we get from this field. And when I dump it, in fact, no, stay with me. Stay with me. There is perhaps an issue with this, but I might have found a solution to it with this mod. And when it unloads into the silage bunker, it kind of gets a little bit hung up and a little bit glitchy, and will only dump a few hundred at a time. The other day I think I found a solution to that, so we're going to just trundle along. Enjoy everything. The sound is brilliant. The brakes, that's fantastic. I like the brakes. He's got lights, that's about it. I don't think he's got indicators. Oops, sorry, there's my clumsiness. Turn you back on. Oh, we do have indicators. That's great. The mirrors are working as expected. Nearly done. I'm going to go and dump this straight away. The sheep can wait another 10 minutes. Pick up, switch him off. Off we go. And we shall take the reasonably sensible route rather than going straight off the edge of the hill. Because I really don't want to be turning over pieces of equipment, and if you have to reset a piece of equipment, of course you lose its load, and we don't want to do that. So we've got 2 bunkers here at the farm, which is great. It means we can get a small amount fermenting pretty much straight away, and to be honest, that can be this 10,000. Right, let me try to empty. Now you have to manually empty the grass into the sides. We're going to start about here, and we're going to say unload here. Oh no, that's working absolutely fine. It did get a little bit glitchy the other day. I'm very pleased about that. And this is the second load I'm bringing in here, and I backed in the loading wagon and it's doing what I said I thought it might do. If you can see, it's letting out quite small amounts at a time, and then you have to send it another command with your fingers, so it's not exactly hard work to unload some more. So that's but if you face the loading wagon to the east, bite it by the bullet and drive it into the silo, then it'll empty all day long. There you go, what an odd little glitch. Very strange. We've got this 20,000 out of that big rectangular area in front of the sheep, and maybe a couple more thousand. We'll see what the yield's like when we've ploughed it out and replanted it, because that is my plan for that area, and then use that as our main grass production, because the big mower can get in there. Now we've got 3 meadows around the map, none of which that thing can get into because its header is too big, and that's where the small tractors and their mower and tedder come into play. Okay, and we're back in the farmyard. We do have this machine, don't forget, the Massey Ferguson. I'm going to say it once my mouth completely stopped working in episode 1. I do apologise for that. We're going to take the Lidden around, but he's not going to be mowing right now. Oh no. He's going to come over here. He's not going to be mowing, so he may as well drop the mower. Sorry, I didn't realise that was attached. He's got 47 horsepower, if I remember correctly. That is more than enough then to operate the 2-row planter, which we now have somewhere to start it operating. Now bear in mind, obviously this is the first day on the farm. I've done no prep, I'm doing it all with you. So the first day is going to be a little bit scatty, higgledy-piggledy, however you want to put it, as I get everything into line. The second day on the farm, when you've got your harvest kind of set up, everything planted, etc., is going to be much easier going. In fact, we've also got fields here, they're ready to harvest now. Right, that's fantastic, we're going to start harvesting. We need to go and get this guy some seed. I think he holds a small amount. How worrying that is. Well, it's not worrying. The issue is some of these smaller seeders do actually get through the seed amazingly slowly. It also depends what you're planting. It does make quite a difference. Canola is particularly prolific when it comes to how quickly it gets through what it's loaded with. So that's only 100. That is a very small capacity. So we're definitely, I think, going to restrict the use of this planting machine to the fields closest to the farm. So that's one thing we've already learned. And yeah, you can scurry over here. This area is going to get ploughed out. This needs to be ploughed out manually, as does the grassed area where the bulldozer is sat on now. This, because it was still in quite a field state, but a kind of neglected field state, the workers can deal with this straight away. That does mean I've got to sit in that noisy Fiat Panzer bulldozer for some length of time and manually plough quite a lot of this out. So there you go. I might have got away with not having to plant the corn manually, but I'm going to do my penance in that noisy tractor. There we go. Again, a lovely mod from the classic pack. Thank you very much. In fact, 2 mods from Dogface. There you go, working in perfect harmony, exactly as he intended, I hope. Right, we've got to get on. Now the Fortschitt comes with its toolkit, all the spanners and hammers you could possibly need to keep this operating smoothly. Again, part of Grandad's prized collection, something you will have seen in one of my other playthroughs. But there you go. I do like to use lots of different stuff, but this harvest is the only kind of cheap option. There is the Massey Ferguson one. We will look at that in another playthrough. I like this piece of machinery. I love, again, the sound. I love the feel of how it's been just made to look. Right, I've got the Massey Ferguson header on this, again from the old time pack by Blacksheep Modding. There's a reason I chose this one. It's because I have played this farm a little bit before, and I know this one fits everywhere. It fits perfectly. In fact, Grandad deliberately designed some of the parts of this farm, the bridge and this area down here. You do have to be a skilled driver to do this. I'm so skilled I don't even have to look the right direction. But it'll get through as long as you use this back road. I would not try and take this anywhere near the farmyard. We didn't come this way on our little tour in episode 1, but there is a sell point right here, which I believe is Gomez Ridge Acres. Yeah, how handy is that? This area again here could be ploughed out and replanted with grass. It's quite a source just to nip round and get a little bit of grass here and there. It's not going to be a priority to get that in any other state than it is. We have, as I said earlier, fertilised this once just to get the yield up a little bit. I'm going to let the worker just go, and we're going to see what he does so you can see. I'm going to leave him to it for a second and keep an eye out for the messages. The mower is finished up here. So where should we move him now? We shall going to move him to the other area he can get straight on a mow. Now the other issue is here in terms of the playthrough and the production is how long do we make an episode? Right, I believe, let me just concentrate on getting this guy going. If I actually fire him here, he'll go that way. I want to get him 45 degrees to that. You'll get some quite long runs out of this field this way. It's a bit of a strange shape. Anyway, as I was saying, we're going to have to experiment with the episode length. Do I keep it within a sort of rough time band of length? Do I try to play it so there's a day? He's blocked by an object. I mentioned this in the episode about the other shed over where we're keeping the field equipment. They do detect stuff through the wall. So it's actually the mixing wagon there that is causing this guy the problem. That's why we'll turn him and he'll miss it when he comes back. Or back to this topic, do we make an episode a day? I'd like a bit of feedback from you guys on this. What would you like to see? I can condense a day into a reasonably length episode, or I can just go for whatever happens in a half-hour time period. I'm going to kind of work with you on that one, because I'm not really sure. This is going to be quite an odd playthrough because it's continually expanding and the size of the equipment. So we're going to see. I'm just adjusting this guy just till I get into the swing of how the workers are behaving. I might have been better off going straight down there, but we've learnt. We'll carry on like this for now. Right, slurry tanker has run out of slurry again. Where are you? What are you doing? Oh, I see what you've done. That's gone through another growth stage. So he's fertilised what was ploughed and carried on up here till he's run out. So he's done a few extra turns. He's probably fertilised that area of grass as well, bless him. That's okay. It's all yield. Nothing's been wasted. And yeah, I can actually fertilise these a second time before we harvest them. Whereas the field that the harvester's on now could only get one because it was ready to harvest when the game started. Right, I'll get this field up and back on duty. We'll keep an eye on the harvester. And I'll get back to you when you need to see what's going on. Okay, we're just popping up to the sheep to give them their grass to get them up to 100% productivity. Rear visibility isn't too good. I guess I'll hit something. Oh no, I'll get the unload icon. That's good enough for me. Let's have a look. That didn't take much, did it? That's good. Sheep do seem to be very low maintenance, when in fact they are low maintenance. Grass and water, and that's it. I've not raised them much for that reason, to be honest with you. So a bit new to me. I'm just going to top this guy back up and then dump this over in that silage bunker, get that compacted and get that wrapped so we've got some tomorrow. Okay, we're back with the harvester and it's done all of this field apart from these areas here, so we should remember those for next time. Do them manually tidy up, although I think the work would probably kick back in now. Yet it's just that tree, something over there, not quite sure, and we need to run this headland down here, so we know that now, so that is taken into account. And the way the fields are laid out, we're basically going to do a lap, end up back at the, today we're going to end up back at the fields 4 and is it 9 over by the farm. Usually we'll probably start there, stay on the field, and as you can see, let me shut him down for a minute. We brought the small Massey over with the 8,000 litre bale trailer. I believe it's called the homemade bale trailer, or old-fashioned bale trailer, excuse me. Comes in a, you can have it as a bale trailer instead. It's called the old-fashioned tipper. There you go, and I'm not actually even hitched to it anymore. There we are. So we're just going to empty this guy out because he's picking up a different crop from each field, which is very bad logistically and not something we shall be doing. We shall try to arrange the fields so that the vehicle movements and unloading, loading, switching crops and grains is absolutely minimised. That's going to be very important to the smooth running of this farm. Now I've been planting up here manually. I shall spare you doing it. I'm doing it basically in between jobs. It's quite handy just to have a piece of equipment, and when I'm not managing something directly or a job doesn't need doing, I pop up here, do a few rows. He's finished planting this field. He did spectacularly well, cruised all the way across there 9 miles an hour. Very nice job, Mr. Lidner, thank you very much. Okay, we're back in the yellow Massey. We're bringing back the tipper, which is emptied, and the Brantner. The Brantner we're just going to be dropping right there. we're going to take the tipper around to empty the harvester, which has already gathered up the canola, which we didn't bother fertilising at all, to be honest, today, and let the harvester get on his way. As you can see over here, we've had to make some changes just temporarily, and this is where, in fact, I'm going to run over. We may have discovered our first limitation with the equipment we have right now. Let's first of all see what on earth is going on up here. Right. You're supposed to be fertilizing this here field. About right. Now I've had to switch to the Massey with the fertilizer because the Deutz really does struggle on the hill here, and it will also struggle on the hill opposite where the harvester has been. The bulldozer, it's actually quicker just to run up the hill. Something else, we've obviously got a lot of vehicles in this playthrough. At the end of the day, I'm going to reset them back to the shop in the order that I kind of want them to be in when I figured out what that might be. Now this clanky monster, I think he's actually hit the map boundary there, and that's what's confused the worker. Yeah, invisible map boundary, there you go. Right, let's get you back on your merry way down the hill. He's struggling up the hill as well. I think he was coming up the hill at about 4 miles an hour. So he's not too versatile. All he can do is plough. The Mass is getting on very well. If we just nip back through here, we can get through these bushes. The guys can't. We've got this straw to pick up down here. This is the woodland on the along here. It's very, very thick. It desperately needs thinning out. That is on our list of things to do, but it's not the top priority right now. The Deutz is having to bale because only the Deutz and the Massey can operate the baler, have sufficient power to, basically. So it's Deutz's turn right now, and this is where I think he'll get up to speed. Yeah, so I'm not sure. It's the first fort anyway of where we are at the moment. Slurry tanker's tank is empty yet again, so we will attend to him shortly. We'll let this bale out just over here on the side, out of the way. We brought the bale trailer down. We've got the small Massey that can handle the bales. We've got the big Massey that can handle the bales. And then we're going to just see who can try this plough. In fact, let's try it right now, because we're going to call it an episode right here. We've got to this kind of point. It's still the first day. We're only halfway through the first day, to be honest. There's a lot of tinkering, a lot of messing about, especially accommodating this much equipment. What is quite a lot of land for such small equipment. Oh my word, no, he can't even. Okay. I didn't realise this already counted as a field. He can't move that plough at all. Okay, so there's another job that Deutz can't do. So at the moment he can do the slurry tanker and he can do baling. That's about it. Anything lighter than that, obviously, towing a trailer, blah blah blah, he can do that. The Massey is in the same boat really, so we'll have a look. But for now, we're going to take a little bit of a lunch break, I think, and scratch our heads, sort out the guys, get everybody full of slurry and raring to go again. We're going to see you back in the next episode and figure out the rest of this map. There's also a few odd jobs to do, including using that potato harvester, which in itself can be thoroughly entertaining. So thank you very much for watching. From me, from the wonderful Deutz, from Altenstein. Leave a comment, leave a suggestion, leave a criticism as long as it's constructive, please. Subscribe if you like to stay in touch, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much and goodbye.